Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please confirm in the chat box. Thank you, Sai. Thank you, Balaji. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's stop the chat. So this is our agenda for today's session. So we will be learning something different today. We'll be learning changing the default process of a container. Very, very interesting. Okay. So first we should know what do you mean by default process. And then once you know what do you mean by default process, and we'll also learn how can we change the default process of the container. And then we'll learn about how to work with registries. We'll learn about how to work with registries. There are two types of registries, public registry and private registry. Registries are nothing but the site hub.docker.com where we can upload our own images. Our own customized images can also be uploaded into Docker Hub. So that's about dealing registry. And then we will move on to the next continuation of container or containerization tool. That's next level to containerization. That's called as container orchestration. This is our plan for our today's session. So, so let's move on to understand the concepts of today's session. Any questions on the concepts what we have discussed in the last class? Any questions on the concepts what we have discussed in our previous sessions? No questions? Perfect. Okay. Okay, good. Yes, Vakar. We cannot hear you, Vakar. Some problem, Vakar. We cannot hear you. Looks like some issues with your audio settings. We are unable to hear you. Hello?
I'm audible, sir?
Yeah, now it is audible, Vakarazan. How are you doing?
I'm audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible.
Good, sir. Sir, I have a doubt. In a single container, we have Tomcat and Jenkins bar. Okay. So CMD command basically use when container starts.
Yes, you are right.
So at the time I want to start Jenkins at Tomcat bar. So how I can start that?
The first point, when you are creating customized images, okay, when you are creating customized images, you start those applications, Vakar. Start those applications. Once the applications are up and running, then you save that particular status into a container, into an image. So once what happens is when you run that particular image, your container gets created. At that point of time, both will be in started state. So the point at which you are preserving the containers by creating an image is important. So whatever the state you are expecting, get that into that particular state, the desired state, and then at that point of time, save it as an image. So your requirement will be satisfied. Venkata.
Hi, Sunil. If I create my image in Docker file, why it is in existing state if I create container with customized image from the Docker file?
Okay.
It's in existed state. If my Docker file having
exited state. Okay. Am I right,
yes.
Venkat? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, okay. So what to understand that exited state, now I'm discussing about this concept of default process of the containers. So this concept will clear your doubt, Venkat.
Okay. If it is having command only, it is in existing state. Otherwise, if running command or remaining commands, it's in
it is in exited state. So why it is in exited state, you will understand it once we learn about the default process of the container.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Yes, Anuj.
Good evening, Sunil.
Good
if
evening.
Docker host gets rebooted, will it destroy the cache?
Obviously.
Okay. Then
as long as host is live up and running, the cache will be active. Okay. If you restart it, the cache is always permanent, temporary. It will be lost. But do you think at the
Right.
at the real time, the host will be restarted? Never. Okay.
No, it was just a question
It
came
is
that will it.
continuously running. Okay. So you will
Right.
never get a chance to restart it. Okay.
Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you. Okay. Look at this. Let's try to understand the concept of default process. Look at the requirement. Create a Docker file. We already have learned in the last session how to create a Docker file using the keywords like from, maintainer, command instruction, run instructions, isn't it? For using Ubuntu as a base image. Okay, you want to create a Docker file from Ubuntu as a base image, and then you want to install Java in it. We have seen how, I hope we have seen how can we install some specific softwares inside the customized images by using the run command options. I hope you know it. And then there's something new what you want to do. We want to download a specific file, that is jenkins.war file. And then I want to execute java-jar jenkins.var. Do you remember, Anuj, this was a command which is used to run a particular Jenkins, isn't it? Java-jar jenkins.var. I want to run that particular command as a default process. I want to run that command as a default process. So first you should understand what do you mean by default process. You'll have clarity when you understand the concept of default process. Look at this. Look at my statement. Every image comes with a default process. Every image comes with a default process. As long as the process is running, the default process is running, the container will be in running state. Every image comes with a default process. So as long as the default process is running, the container will be in running state. The moment the default process is closed, the container is exited. Let's try to understand this practically. I won't remove all the containers. I want to remove all the containers. I have removed all the containers. Look at the command to see list of containers. There are no containers. Okay, look at this. Anuj, what this statement will do? Can you explain this? Pretty simple.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. So Docker run, and the name is, what is the name? Name is C1. The name is we are giving is C1. It is entering in the interactive phase, and the which we want to run it is Ubuntu image.
Yes, this is the name of the image. This is the name of the container. Agree?
Container.
As we have used IT, stands for interactive terminal, container gets created and control will enter into the container. I want to come out of the container. In two ways I can come out of the container. I hope we know that. One is by exit.
Right.
I want the container to run in the background, so I use Control PQ to come out of the container. So the container will be running on the background. I want the container to run on the background, so I use Control PQ. So back to my Docker host. So container C1 is running in the background. Agree?
Right.
Container C1 is running in the background. Agree? Isn't it?
Right.
Fine. Explain what this statement does, Anuj.
Docker run name. The name of the container is J1-D in detach mode -P, and P the port mapping Jenkins.
So what happens?
So when we run this, we will start with the new container, and that name is J1.
And that is a Jenkins container.
Jenkins container, and it will run in a detached mode
and automatic port mapping.
Automatic mode mapping, and the name of that image is Jenkins.
Yes. This is the second container. Agree? The first container was C1.
Right.
First container was C1. That's nothing but created using Ubuntu image. Now what we are
Right.
running is second container, that is J1, that is nothing
J1.
but a Jenkins.
Jenkins.
Yes, Jenkins container is also running.
Running.
I want to open interactive terminal. I want to enter into Jenkins. This is Docker host. One Ubuntu container,
Right.
one Jenkins container. Both are running. Okay.
Correct. Correct.
Right now, I am not pointing to any of the container. I am pointing to my Docker host now. You can see my terminal is now pointing to Docker host. I want to enter into Jenkins container. I want to enter
Right.
into Jenkins container. Docker execute. IT stands for interactive terminal. What is the name of the Jenkins container? J1.
J1.
And the terminal, Jenkins terminal is called as a bash terminal. Okay. So when you write bash, what happens? You will be now entered into the Jenkins container. Now, where are you pointing to now? Anuj,
Jenkins
you are pointing to Jenkins.
Jenkins container.
Perfect. The point is, in Ubuntu container, I can go directly using IT in the interactive terminal at the time of creating the container itself. In the Docker run command itself, I am using IT. That means container gets created immediately. My control will enter into the container because I am using IT.
Right.
Whereas in Jenkins, I'm using exclusively an additional command execute. Additional command execute, and then I'm mentioning interactive mode. Okay.
Right.
If you try to use IT stands for interactive terminal in Jenkins, like in Ubuntu, I've used interactive terminal. In the same way, if you try to use it in Jenkins, it will not work. Ubuntu container, it is working fine. Same, I want to get into the Jenkins container at the time of Docker run command itself. That means I want to create a container. Immediately, I want immediately I want to enter into the container. Okay. So I don't want to. That's fine. Exit to come back to my Docker host. As per IT concept, interactive terminal, Anuj, Jenkins container should be created and my control should enter into Jenkins container.
Jenkins, right.
Am I entering into container? No.
No.
Am I getting into terminal? No, not at all.
No.
We are not getting an interactive terminal. Okay. We are not getting an interactive terminal. That's fine. I want to parallelly open one more git bash terminal. Connect to same Docker host. Creating one more Tomcat container. Okay.
Right.
The name of the container is T1. Detached mode, so you will not get log messages. You will be back to my Docker host. Now, why interactive terminal is working for Ubuntu? Why it is not working for Jenkins? Let's try to understand how to see list of all the containers.
Docker
container
container
ls. You're not getting the prompt back. Yes. Okay. One Ubuntu, the first one. Next one, what we have tried is Jenkins.
Jenkins.
And we have, I just want to try it one more time, Jenkins using interactive terminal just for your reference purpose. And the third one I have used is Tomcat. So total
Tomcat.
3 types of containers which are running on the background.
Right.
There's something called command heading. Okay. This is the image which I used. One is Ubuntu image, that is just Jenkins. The other one is Tom image.
Tom
Image and the corresponding command. One image is Ubuntu, one image is Jenkins, one image is Tomcat. Tommy. Up to the command section, what information you're getting in the command section? The command section for Ubuntu, I'm getting as bash. In Jenkins, I'm getting the command as /bin/tiny. Some command I'm getting. For Jenkins, I'm getting something like /bin/tiny. Whereas for Tommy, in the command section, observe Catalina.sh. This command refers to the background process. The command refers to background process. As long as the image gets executed in the background, this bash terminal will be running. Bash process will be running, Anuj. Okay.
Right.
Every image comes with a default process. The moment you create a container out of the image, the default process that is running is a bash process. When you create a Jenkins container, the default process that is running for the Jenkins container is /bin/tiny. When you create a Tomcat container, the background process is for Tomcat it is Catalina.sh. So now I hope you have understood the statement. Every image comes with a default process. For Ubuntu, the default process is bash. For Ubuntu, the default process is bash. Bash itself is a terminal.
Right.
As terminal is the default process, IT is working fine because interactive terminal, it enters into the terminal because terminal is already running in the background.
Correct.
For all the Linux based containers, the default process are shell process. Examples of shell process are bash shell, bourne shell, etc. These are all default process. These are all default process of the containers. As the default process itself is a terminal, you are able to work with interactive terminal. That's the reason you are able to enter into interactive mode at the time of creating the container itself. Whereas if you try to use IT in the Jenkins image, you will not work. You will not enter into Jenkins container. Similarly, if you write IT in the Tomcat, it will not work. You cannot enter into Tomcat container. You can IT interactive terminal will work only for the Linux based containers, not for other based containers because the default process is different. All the containers who are having default process as a bash shell or bourne shell, for those containers, interactive terminal will work. For other containers, interactive terminal will not work. I hope you now understand the technical reason why for some containers, interactive terminal option is working. For some containers, interactive terminal is not working.
Correct.
Now, my point what I want to tell you is, we can change the default process of the container. This is predefined for Ubuntu from my lab, from my Docker host. In your Docker host, also the default process is bash only. That's predefined.
Right.
But if required, we can change the default process of the container itself.
Any container,
if you want, you can change the default process as long as you have the corresponding software associated inside the container. Now I am showing you an example. How can we change the default process of a specific container?
Okay, Sunil, one question.
Yeah.
This is a little bit from the previous class. If we create an image, Jenkins and Tommy, everything is in running state, and I create an image out of running container, I create an image.
Yes.
And now when I run that image, I hope every software and everything will be in the same status,
and you get both the Tomcat and Jenkins running.
There, yes. It will not ask for me to get a password for getting it unlocked, right?
The moment no, it will not ask because you have unlocked it and you have then saved the image, then created customized image. Whatever the status it is there, that is preserved.
Right. It's just like a snapshot backup.
Backup. That's you're right.
Got it. And in another words, these containers are nothing but they are process in itself. It is a process running over the operating system.
You're right. You're right.
That's why when we control D, it gets exited.
Exited. You're right.
Thank
What you
you.
guys is right. Now we can, the point what I want to tell you, we can change the default process of the container. Coming back to the first example. For Ubuntu, what's the default process?
That's bash.
We just verified it. It's bash.
Bash.
What is my requirement is I want to change the Ubuntu default process java-jar jenkins.var. I want to make this command as a default process for the Ubuntu base image. That can be done. Look at this. Creating a Docker file from the Ubuntu base image. Maintainer is nothing but the author or organization. I'm writing the organization name. In this Ubuntu, what I'm doing, updating the repository, installing JDK. Okay, installing JDK. Next, you want to take the default process as java-jar jenkins.var, isn't it, Anuj?
Right.
That means that jenkins.var file should be available inside the container.
Correct.
Okay, so add is an instruction which is used to download a specific file. I want to download jenkins.var file. Space where I want to download. I want to download in the root directory. So add instruction which helps you to download a particular file for a specific URL. Download a file from a specific URL. Once the file is downloaded, using the entry point keyword, I want to go back to the documentation of yesterday's session, creating customized images using Docker file. Look at this. Entry point. Use it to specify the default process that should execute when a container starts. Yes, I want to have the default process as java-jar jenkins.var. You are changing altogether the default process of a specific container. Yes, you are right. So I want to do that first.
So if we don't specify an entry point, it will take a default.
Default. Creating a new Docker file. Entry point is a keyword which helps you to define the default process that should execute when your customized container starts. This is all about creating customized image. Now Docker file is ready. Now I'm building a customized image out of this Docker file. We already have learned this process. Docker build is a command which helps you to build our own image. What's the name of the image? My Ubuntu. From the Docker file present in the current working directory. Let's wait. The Docker host system is behaving very, very slow.
And that's of the minimum hardware.
Yeah.
So then likewise, we can change the default entry point of Jenkins or Tomcat, whatever you want
to get. Look at this. Anuj, I have changed the default process java-jar jenkins.var. I'm able to do that because before that I'm downloading the jenkins.var. So as long as you are satisfying the dependencies, you can change the default process so that the process will run smoothly. Otherwise, it will not run. It's behaving very slowly. Even the clear command is taking a lot of long time to get executed.
we may have lot of images, I hope.
See the clear command itself.
Docker image ls.
Just the Docker image command is taking listing images is taking a long time. So
I hope we
obviously
can.
It will take a long time for the
We can
customized
reboot
image
this.
to boot.
Reboot this instance. Maybe that fixes the problem.
Or that altogether we can create a new Docker host.
So Sunil, once if, for example, if that Docker heads gets rebooted, so the Docker process which we have installed on it, it will automatically start. We have to start it manually.
What is the Docker process we have started?
No, first we created an instance.
Mhm.
Over that instance,
We have downloaded
installed
that.
Docker,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
once we downloaded the Docker, so if that particular host gets shut down or maybe due to
It
maintenance
gets automatically
activity,
started.
okay, automatically.
Let's create a new Docker host because it is behaving very slowly. Docker host creation is pretty simple. You can do it in a couple of minutes. I want to take you to 1 to 18. Next. I want to open OR file wall rules.
Sunil, you run that git bash from where you save this private key, right?
You're right.
Will it automatically pick up that one?
Yes, because the SSH command needs a key pair.
But there are other
Docker 02.
but there are other files also there in that folder.
There may be other files. It identifies it looks for this particular file which you have mentioned in the SSH command.
Okay. Because we normally use putty in day-to-day task.
How to install Docker?
Repository update and then
get.docker.com.
Docker.
These are the two commands which helps you to install Docker.
So Sunil, in short, if we run ps-ef, that will list all those containers as a process running in that Docker host.
Yes, Kumar, your question, please. Can you hear me? What?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
My question is regarding that customized image that we have created yesterday.
Okay. Yes.
So can we store it physically somewhere and use it in another Docker host? Is it possible?
You can do that. For example, I have done some software installations and I have my customized image ready in my Docker host, Kumar. Okay.
Okay.
I want to give that image to you so that you want to experience that particular environment. How can I send the image to you? How can I? So there should be a platform. That's nothing but Docker Hub. Okay, we will be signing up to
Okay.
Docker Hub. Kumar will be seeing it. So that's called as dealing with Docker registry. Docker registry. Docker registry is all about Docker Hub. So I'll be signing up to Docker Hub, and I'll upload my own image into the Docker Hub, and then you can pull my image using Docker pull command. Like generally we do it using the predefined image, Kumar. In the same way, you can use the same Docker pull command to download the customized images. So we will be seeing it soon. Okay. Okay, Kumar.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because my friend asked me how it's what's the advantage why you're creating it then
Yes, now you'll understand it. That
Yeah.
it can be possible using Docker registry. Okay.
Sunil, if the environment is highly confidential, is it not possible we transfer it via some drive or something instead of just
No.
going
In
through
that
Docker
case,
Hub?
we go for private registries. Okay. That's nothing but the
Okay.
paid version. Okay.
Got it.
So Docker hyphen version. Yes. Now I create a Docker file. Come back to my example. Right now, there are no images.
Docker image ls.
Building the customized image using the base image. First, pulling the predefined image, that is Ubuntu,
Right.
and then it executes the run command instructions, updating the repository and installing
Right.
JDK, and then using the add instruction, that particular file, Jenkins var file, will be downloaded. Then using the entry point, that particular file gets executed using the command java-jar jenkins.var.
Var.
With the effect of that, you will find the Jenkins log messages.
Right.
You generally do you remember, Anuj, when you write java-jar jenkins.var, when you're
Right.
learning about Jenkins, we used to get a message, Jenkins is fully up and running.
Correct.
That messages you'll get it here.
And that log file will keep updating.
Yes. Still the Java part is getting executed.
Getting.
Step 5.
Yep.
That particular
Okay.
Jenkins.file is getting downloaded.
Getting downloaded.
Everything is in action. We used to do it manually. Do you remember when you were configuring Jenkins,
right.
the dev instance?
We
Everything
need
we
to
are doing it in the form of Docker file. That becomes handy for you. So Docker file is more powerful way of creating customized images. Okay.
So that means image is created without it is being run. It gets
That's
downloaded.
That's
even software gets installed.
Without creating a run environment. Okay?
Run environment.
First image will be ready. Then that image, if you run it, the actual environment comes into picture. Okay. It's a time saving mechanism. Okay.
It's a new thing that normally what happens, we have some
approach,
running environment. Running environment,
that is
then
first
we get
way.
image.
That is first way by using Docker commit command. First we have created we actually get the standard predefined container, then we open in
install everything.
Install it, and then we preserve the status by using the commit command. That is a older approach.
Okay. Older approach. Here we are creating everything without being running it actually.
You're right.
But Sunil, do you think there is no way of transferring these predefined images via disk or something like that? Is it only through private repositories that I need to upload it, that download?
You're right. We never do it from the other alternative way. Okay, I have never seen that. Now list of images.
Docker image ls.
One is predefined image. This is the customized image. Look at the size
Customized.
difference. The predefined was 72 MB. This is 847 MB. It almost 10 times it has increased. Okay, because of downloading that
Right.
particular Jenkins.war file and all those. Now, can I create a container out of the predefined image?
Yes.
Customized image. Docker run
Yes.
Ubuntu. When you write,
Ubuntu.
when I'm not mentioning hyphen name, Anuj. When you don't
No,
mention
no.
hyphen name, what happens? It contains it. So there is some predefined naming happens, but every container will have a name. If you name it, it will be as per your naming convention. Otherwise, it will have their own names. Okay. I'm running
Right.
my Ubuntu. When you run my Ubuntu, the beauty what you have to understand here is you will get the log messages of Jenkins. Have you observed?
Yes. Plugins.
Jenkins
Yes.
initial setup, huh? And then
password also got
you
generated.
can proceed it, and then you can see Jenkins. Is it a real? It is behaving like a Jenkins container?
Jenkins.
But it's not a Jenkins container. It's a customized Ubuntu container. So I just want to tell you, it's all depends upon the default process. Okay. In case if needed, I have seen very rare cases changing the default process of the container, because every default process we can have it its own container available. But in case, I'm not sure, but in case if needed, you can be in a position to change the default process of the container to satisfy the client who is having the infrastructure, who is demanding the infrastructure. Okay. So this is possible by using the entry point keyword. Okay.
So that means entry point keyword is used to, it's a kind of software which we want to install.
You're right.
Similarly, Jenkins is installed on the Ubuntu.
You're right.
So if I want to install Git and other things, do we have to?
You can do that by using run instructions.
Run,
right?
run.
Run
Okay.
instruction.
So difference here, run and entry point.
Run is exclusive for installation of softwares. Okay.
Okay.
And then this is for running the command as long as the container is running. Okay. Installing is different.
Okay.
Git gets installed. That software gets installed. There is no running background process happens.
Right.
Agree,
So,
Anuj? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So we can install Jenkins as a run, but if I want to execute it, Java space -jar Jenkins.war, so that
you cannot
starts
execute it by using run instruction.
Run command, execute entry point. Got it. That's
okay.
what.
So
I can install, but I need if I want to run it, I need to have entry point.
Okay. So it is an Ubuntu container. Actually, what is we have customized it, but it is behaving like a Jenkins container. So I want to stop this by Control-C. I can stop this container. And if you want to look at the background process of the container, Docker ps-a will show you the background processes. You can see it is my Ubuntu. My Ubuntu actually it should be /bin/bash, but it's not the case. It is java-jar jenkins.war. And what is the name of the container? Focused_Austin. When you don't provide a name, it uses its own name, Anuj. Okay, that's a very important point. So the entry point is used for Ubuntu predefined image. It is /bin/bash, but that Ubuntu you have customized it and you have made the background process java-jar. That's all possible by using the concept of entry point. So this is all I want to show you some cases where you can use the customized images, and this is more powerful way of creating customized images using Docker file. Okay. Next. Working with registry. Registry is a location where the images are saved. There are two types of registry, public registry and private registry. Public registry is nothing but right from Docker day one, we are learning hub.docker.com. It's a public registry. I am using it. I am downloading Tomcat images. I have downloaded Jenkins. I have downloaded MySQL image. I have downloaded all the whatever the images that is available in hub.docker.com. It's a public registry. There is a paid version of hub.docker.com that's called as a private registry. Corporates like the IT companies, they want to save their and they want to have their clients infrastructure to be saved in a secured way. In that case, they go for private registry. Okay. Now let's experience how can we, as I think Kumar has asked, how can we upload our own images? How can we upload our own images into Docker Hub? Look at a scenario. Create a customized Ubuntu image by installing Tree in it. What's there? We can do that. That's not a problem. We'll create one Ubuntu base image. On top of it, we'll install one tree package. Save that container as an image. That becomes a customized container. The new thing what you have to experience is how can we upload that image into the Docker Hub? So that's the point. Before showing you this example, you have to have an account in Docker Hub. Okay, open Docker Hub. Docker Hub is nothing but hub.docker.com. This is Docker Hub. I already have an account, so I can sign into my Docker Hub. It is free. Private registry is nothing but if you click on pricing, that's a private registry. Okay, that's internal use of a specific enterprise or a client. So if you don't have a Docker Hub account, it's pretty simple. Enter the Docker ID, a unique ID, your email address, password. Within no time, your Docker Hub account will be created. I already have a Docker Hub account. I will be logging in to my Docker Hub account. I logged into my Docker Hub. So this is how it looks like. The moment you log into Docker Hub, you can see this is my Docker ID. Docker ID is something like a unique ID. So that is your Docker, how to have an account in the Docker Hub. Okay, fine. Next. So whatever the containers you want, you can search for the containers and get the Docker pull command. That anyways do it. The new thing what I have shown you is I have logged into Docker Hub. Next. So you have to create a new account in Docker Hub. That's fine. Now what I'm doing, I'm creating a container C5 using the Ubuntu base image. IT stands for interactive terminal. That's fine. Container gets created. Control will enter into the container. Now I am into the container. Inside the container, I am making some changes. I'm updating the repository. Installing tree. Yes, this is a container with Ubuntu with tree installed. Okay, exit to come out of the container back to my Docker host. Now, this container, I want to save it as an image. This customized container, I want to save it as an image. We already have learned it using the Docker commit command. We can convert the status of the container into an image. What's the name of the container? C5. When your objective is to have this image uploaded into Docker Hub, your image name should start with Docker ID, mandatory. If your objective is to upload your image into Docker Hub, it's mandatory that the image ID, that image name should start with Docker ID. If you see, my Docker ID is Sunil DevOps 77. That's my Docker ID. This is my Docker ID. Okay, so it's mandatory that you have to start with your Docker ID / whatever the image name you want it. Let's say I want to have image name with the name something like image02 with today's date. And now don't think the image name is Ubuntu_img02. The image name, both the image name is combination of Docker ID followed with the image name. This together is called as an image name. Okay, so this is how to identify the official images and the customized images. Customized images always should be prefixed with the Docker ID. So that's one way of identification. So I will be converting into an image. The C5 container status I'm converting into an image. It is converted. Now if you can see list of images, Docker image ls, and your image name is complete Sunil DevOps 77 /img02 is the image name. So I have converted into an image. This is an image with Ubuntu with some software installed. That's nothing but tree. The point is I want to give this image to you so that you can run it on your Docker host so that you can experience the environment. So how can I transfer the image to you? So there should be a platform. That's nothing but Docker Hub. We already know it. And one important note, the image name starts with Docker ID. How can we see list of images? That's fine. Docker image ls now. If you want to upload the image, to the Docker Hub, you have to log into Docker Hub from the terminal. We already have logged into Docker Hub from the browser. That's okay. If you don't log in, that's not a problem. But the most important thing is you have to log into Docker Hub from the terminal. How can we log into Docker Hub from the terminal? Yes, there is a command called docker login. There's a command called docker login. This command helps you to log into Docker Hub from the terminal. When you provide Docker login, it will ask for the username. Username is nothing but the Docker ID, that is Sunil DevOps 77, and the password. Login succeeded. I have successfully connected to my Docker Hub from the terminal. Once I have successfully connected, then we have a Docker push command. In the beginning days, we have seen list of commands, Docker pull command to download the image. So obviously Docker push command to upload the image. So Docker push followed the image name. Your image name is this one, img02. This is how we can upload into Docker Hub. Yes, it has been uploaded into the Docker Hub. Can we see that particular image from the portal? You can definitely see that image from the portal. Can you see here we have this is the repositories. These are nothing but the customized images. That's nothing but the repositories. What is the image name? _0 to refresh. Can you see few seconds ago, Sunil DevOps 77 image? So the image is now available in the Docker Hub, and it is available to public because it's a public registry. If you want to use that particular image, so when you click on this, you get the informations. Okay, so I have used this particular command, public view. Like how others, how can they see my particular image? Click on public view. So this is how the public view. So you have a Docker pull command followed with Sunil DevOps and Ubuntu_image view. When you pull this particular image will be available in your Docker host so that you can experience creating the container out of it. So I hope I have clearly shown you how exactly Docker Hub is the best platform to have their images available to public. Yes, Naveen.
Hi, sir. Good evening, Mr. Sir, in the real time, actually, this changing of default process will
Not much, to my knowledge, it's not much used.
okay based on the
Okay.
requirement from the
Yeah, I have seen very rare requirements where you want to change the default process, but I want to discuss that because if anybody asks you, you should be in a position to answer.
the customized one, sir.
No. Changing the default process is not much use, but you should know this concept that every image comes with the default process. That is the reason for a few containers, IT interactive terminal is working and few containers interactive terminal is not working. The reason is this background process. So that will be that's knowledge is important. Naveen, okay?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Jayasri. Please unmute again, Jayasri. Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah, we can hear you.
sir, what is PS-U? Sir, you are going very
Use-
fast, sir. I can't understand.
Okay. No. PS-A is to see list of all the background processes. Okay.
List of all background. Okay.
Yes.
Sir, you are going very fastly.
Okay. So I will slow down. I will take your input, but at the same time, you always have a recording handy on you. Whenever you want, you can repeat it, isn't it? So that's you can
Yes,
take
sir.
that advantage.
Recording difference, sir. Live is difference, right, sir?
Okay, I'll go a little slow. Okay, no problem. Okay.
You're going very fast. Like little bit, I'm not understanding.
Okay, okay, no problem. I'll take your input, Jayashree. I'll go a little bit slow. You have any
Okay.
question, you can raise your hand. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Sir, once again, tell me what
Yes.
is PSFNA, sir?
To know the
Please.
to see list of all the background processes. Every container comes with the background process, right? Container list will see list of all the containers. But if you want to see the background process, for example, PHP is a
Okay.
container that runs as a background process. So if you create a PHP container, it will not be visible in the Docker container list, but it will be visible in the PS-A. Okay, because PHP
Okay,
is not an environment; it's a technology using which you can develop web applications. So it runs as a background process. Okay.
Okay, sir. What is the exact meaning of using Docker commit, sir?
Exact meaning of
Docker commit. Using Docker commit.
there are two ways of creating customized images, Jayashree. One is
Okay,
Docker
sir.
file, which we have just discussed. The first way is Docker commit. We have started with Docker commit. Docker
Yeah.
commit is all about converting the container into an image. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, please go to day before yesterday session. We have seen Docker commit first, and then we have discussed about Docker file. Okay. Please
Okay,
revise.
sir.
Thank you. Maheshwara.
It's regarding
How
the
are you?
previous. Yeah, I'm fine, Sunil.
Yep.
See, you used the entry level as a
Entry
interactive
point.
thing, right? So, and the run is the thing to use to install, am I right? Similarly,
You're right.
using the run, we can install Jenkins itself, correct? Why we are using as a entry level and then using Jenkins there? Because directly we can install Jenkins using run command, correct? Run within that list of things within the Docker
When you
file.
install Jenkins, okay, it
Yeah.
will get installed Jenkins, but your container will be stopped. Muthukumar, because when you install Jenkins, do you remember the background? There should be, you get a message Jenkins is fully up and running. That means that the background there's some process is running.
Right.
Okay, so if you want that container to be up and running, in that case you have to use entry point only. Okay.
Now, for example, if I'm not understanding wrongly, Docker file and Docker commit is used to convert the image into a container. Am I right?
Okay, no. Commit is converting container to image. Look at this, what you're doing.
Yeah,
Docker commit,
container to image.
container to image.
Similarly,
Okay.
file is also to a container to image. Am I right?
File is also, finally you end up getting an image. Both Docker commit and Docker file, end result is
Right.
to get an image. But the Docker file behavior is different. In Docker file, you will not create a container, and from the container it will enter into an image. Directly you get an image without the container experience. Okay. So that everything runs on the background.
Okay, sorry, some confusion is there still actually. Still,
So
I'm not getting.
do not worry about entry point, because first thing you need to know that only thing what you need to understand with this entry point example. Don't worry about changing the default process. That anyway is not much used. The only thing you need to keep in mind that every container comes with a default process. Okay, Ubuntu comes with the bash process. Okay, Tomcat comes with Catalina.sh. Okay, so every container, if you see MySQL container, there's a background process. Every container comes with the background process. That information you have it. That's enough. Nothing much
What is
more
the
than that.
difference between installing Jenkins and having the Jenkins as the default process? Actually, what might be the difference actually? Having that as a entry level and having that as an installed Jenkins.
You have that confusion because you have discussed about this particular example. If I have not discussed this example,
Yes,
if I just explain about the default process,
right,
then it will be clear. I just want to show you practically how can we change the default process. It is actually meaningless. If you really want a Jenkins container, we have ready-made Jenkins container, Maheshwara, isn't it?
Yeah,
You can use the
no
Jenkins
need to
container. What is
container
the need for creating Ubuntu and then on top of it, why do you want to change the default process? Not required. I can directly go for a Jenkins container if you really want a Jenkins environment. So I have shown this example just to show you practically, if required, we can change the default process, but this is not required. Okay.
Right, and Docker Compose, I just forgot what is that exactly. Sorry,
Multi-container architecture. If you want one container,
right, linking two containers.
WordPress to MySQL or what that is Compose.
Right, sorry. Yeah, got it.
Okay, fine. Okay. So we have discussed about public registry, private registry. They were the paid version of Docker Hub. Let's move on to extension of containerization. That is container orchestration. Let's move on to extension of containers. That is containerization. That is called container orchestration. What is container orchestration? before getting into container orchestration. Okay. I think just in 2 minutes we cannot complete the container orchestration. So let's have this container orchestration in the next session, because anyways we cannot complete this container orchestration. Okay. Yes, Anuj.
Sunil.
Yep.
I appreciate we have a strong telepathy. I was just wondering that I want to talk to you and we are ending the class. Last doubt. Last
Okay.
doubt. Go to the
Okay.
step 2. Can you please scroll up to the step 2 example? Notepad. Yes. So first what we did, Docker run C5, and that is the name of container is C5, and it is coming from that my Ubuntu, right?
No, it's Ubuntu.
Ubuntu. I'm sorry, it's Ubuntu. Everything is correct. Container come up and we installed updated repository. Everything is done. But in the last example, when we run exit, this running container gets stopped.
Stop.
So now that's
right.
And so that means for running a commit, it should not be running on a container, because when it's stopped, it is no more container. Right?
Who said it is no more container? A container can be in a started state,
and
a
stopped state as
container
well.
can be in a stopped state, but it is a container.
Okay, got it. I thought that a running image is only container.
No,
when it is stopped,
what you assumed is when a container is stopped, it is
image.
It's lost. Okay?
It's not. It's nothing but an image.
No. Image is different.
Okay.
A
Got
container can be started state. A container can be
stopped
state. Once you stop a container, you can again start the container by using Docker start command.
Got it.
You can restart the container by using Docker restart. In the beginning, we have discussed
Yeah, got it.
Docker stop, Docker start, and Docker restart. Okay.
Right.
You can stop a container, you can start the container. Okay.
We stop it, then we take a commit of it.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you.
Okay. So the next thing is extension to Docker, that is called as Docker Swarm. That's a container orchestration tool. That's much more interesting. So stay tuned for orchestration tool. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Sunil.
you all. Please do hands-on and see you tomorrow for orchestration. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.